unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting greedy.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carriers, that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Small Town Underground this Wednesday, 10/23, October the 23rd, and the final countdown to this crazy election cycle in 2024. Welcome this evening. We're going to do a little bit of ranting and raving and just get some stuff out, right? A lot of things. It's been busy. It's been real busy. We've had a lot of guests. We went to Floyd County this last Sunday. Got to meet Gordon Rolls of the MAGA or the Black MAGA movement. Great to meet him. And helped Kayla Knowles out with a panel. And if you saw that, it was going really good until Judge Joe Brown. So people are like, what happened? What happened? So I'll explain really quickly. We had everything set up and everything was hardwired into their internet. And first, Joe was supposed to be there. And then kind of like the big event, he couldn't be there and he was going to do the live stream. And apparently he got caught up in some traffic or something on the way to his house or wherever he was. And they ended up, after we'd started the panel, about a half hour in, that I said, you guys might want to call him, because if he would have been able to live stream in with us, we were hardwired. And he said he could only do it over the phone. And immediately I was like, Lord, this is not going to work in a building like this with like a total concrete building with a metal roof. And it just went sideways. I thought the panel was great. I'm looking forward to, getting to know Gordon Roll and then bringing him onto the show. We discussed that. But man, that was a tough one to get through there with that. And we just roll with it. That's all there is to it. It's not like we're getting paid. And the experiment of could we hook everything up and do like a mobile live with music and a PA? And I got to send a shout out to Jeff Conley and Jerry Paris for assisting me. I just asked them too. I said, hey, I think I need some help. Could you go with me? And both of them were like, man, we'll do whatever. And they were amazing. We did get Jerry playing. And I think for the test run itself, it went pretty good. Obviously, we need to tweak some of our sound, but we're using yard sale equipment. So at least I am. So, I was amazed that it worked as well as it did. So, yes, it kind of sucks. But, hey, it was an experiment. We tried it out, and we just continue to do these things. So, and I got to be honest with you folks, I'm wore out. I titled this show, "The Mind Warp is Real, Navigating the 2024 Brain Rot," because I know I've talked to several people every day through this, and I think that we're all suffering from a little bit of brain rot, if you will. So I'm going to take it a little on the slow side tonight. And we're just going to talk about some things. The bottom line, especially us here in Georgia, is that we have to go vote in this election. We cannot sit on the sidelines. You must. And now if you haven't already registered, I'm not, my daughter, this is her first year of voting. I sent the links. She's in school. I get it. But, man, try it over and over and over again. Register. Guess what? She didn't register. So, if you haven't registered by now, which a lot of people I've spoke to have registered, but if you are a registered voter, you must go and vote in this election. No matter what we discuss here, no matter what we highlight, you have to go and vote in this election. Now, mind you, I am a really big proponent of voting on election day, given the facts of what we know in this state alone. However, I will not fault you. I will not blame you if you go down there. I've got to take my dad down there tomorrow. I'm taking my dad down there to vote. I may end up voting. I've got plans to vote on election day. So I'm not going to go into the politics or none of that stuff about when you should vote. We've already got record turnout all over the place, right? Vote. You must vote. We must elect Donald Trump into this White House and get rid of this brain rot, clown world BS. Now, I'm going to try to be really good tonight. Try not to curse because I'm just fit to be tied. I didn't want to do the show tonight. I didn't want to, I didn't feel like it. This morning, and what we're going to do is kind of go through a Mark Dice video because Mark Dice has heavily shadow banned, and if you don't know who Mark Dice is, he's one of the best. I've been following this guy for years, and I want to kind of dissect his video because this is where my morning started out with Mark Dice. And all day long, I've been kind of taking notes and what do I want to say? Because it's going to be me up here tonight by myself, just messing around, kind of ranting, if you will. And I know that there's a lot of people that are out at the Trump rally. And I want to say I appreciate it for the special, I could have got that, I don't know what you call it. Anyway, I could have got in and got a really good seat if I'd have went down there. And I appreciate all my friends and how they look out for me. I was told, hey, you can get expedited entry if you come down here to the Trump rally. And I was like, nah, not tonight. I'm gonna move this camera. Not tonight. I got so much work to do, and we've been hightailing it here. We've been working, trying to bring you good interviews. Just trying to get some more set up for the other studio. And I thought, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. And I found out RFK Jr. was going to be there. And I was like, man, I really would have liked to see that. But, You've got to balance your time and everything that you do. So kudos to everybody down there. I've already received some text messages from people that are down there that said it's great. I think Donald Trump was on about an hour ago. Looking forward to that, seeing some of the highlights. And also, if you are out there, I have a call-in number, as you can see on the screen. It is a throwaway phone number that we can use. You can call in and go directly into the show, 423-661-6752, because it's all about the people, man. I want to hear what you have to say. And we're going to continue on. This is going to be a rant rave night. I'm going to highlight some stuff. I really want to go through this Mark Dice video, but just show you a few things about how little that your representatives really care about you or election integrity. And it's not designed to persuade you not to vote. It's designed to make you understand how important it is that you do go and vote, okay? A lot is at stake here. And on the county levels, I don't know where you guys are, but it goes deep-seated into the counties, into the school boards, into the commission boards. I mean, we've got things blowing up everywhere. And a lot of good people looking into these things. But you can't sit on the sidelines. You must get involved, okay? You got to start going to these commission meetings, start going to these education meetings. You got to start participating, because if we do not hold our representatives accountable and we continue to let them eat out of the cookie jar, nothing is going to change. The middle class is being destroyed, and you're all going to be living in 15-minute cities up on these 300-plus apartment complex hills, and you won't be able to get away and do nothing. They're dismantling this nation. And that's what it's really all about, folks. People say, why would they do something stupid like that? You know why? Because they don't want to fix it. Because maybe they do want to fix it, but their hands are tied. See, they're beholding to somebody else. Far, far more reaching. Okay? And we'll cover a little bit of that tonight. I do want to send a special shout out. If you haven't watched War Room, Gwinnett County, today's show was spectacular with Antonio Jones. I was able to listen to it today. Man, had some good guests on there, good topics, good discussions. Mark Davis especially. Wow, I was blown away yet again. He's got a great show, so you need to check that out. I also posted it on my page, as well as Tyler Martin, who I was feeling a little bit down in these dumps and just not even wanting to get on here tonight. And I looked down at my phone when I got here to get set up, and he was already ranting. And I was like, oh. And he kind of reignited the fire, because everything he was saying was exactly the way that I feel. And some verbatim from my notes. Now, he doesn't know my notes, and I don't know what he was going to say, but I'm telling you, we're on the same page. So we just need to let some of it air out. And so here we go. Now, like I said, the first thing, you're going to have to bear with me for a minute, because part of this, for me covering this Mark Dice video, is very simple. Mark Dice is shadow banned heavily on YouTube. But, you know, I'll give credit where credit is due. I'm just an idiot up here running my mouth. But when I see things that people can say that I can't even articulate, you know. But this is going to sum up, and we're going to stop in between. It's only like a 9-minute video, and we might not cover the whole thing, but I'm just going to go through bit by bit, because I got some stuff to talk about. And we're going to show you the lies that are coming through the Secretary of State's office here coming up. Just crazy stuff. But feel free to call in tonight. I got this number up here. If you want your voice to be heard, we'll take some calls. So, all right, here we go. So we're going to start with this. I'm going to pull it up, and then I'm just going to kind of talk about it a little bit, because this is pretty dang good. But this guy does outstanding work. And you need to go subscribe to him on YouTube.
Well, the Democrats may have dropped their October surprise yesterday, 2 weeks to the date from the 2024 presidential election, and it was the lead story on every CNN and MSNBC show, which will bleed over into today, to the rest of this week. This may be it, and it's basically a rerun from any given night, from any given CNN show or MSNBC show from the last 8 years. Donald Trump, they say, loves Hitler.
I think we just have to take a moment and pause there to note how remarkable that is.
your lies and how desperate you are, it is remarkable.
That someone who served as a chief of staff to the former president of the United States, as a retired Marine general, is saying that the person he served meets the definition of a fascist. Of course, that comes after we heard that the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, who was handpicked by Donald Trump, has also called him a fascist in private.
Okay, all right.
Now, this is all coming as
gotta
Kelly,
stop there for a
during these
second.
interviews,
Yeah, well, just
is
keep
also
going.
confirming reports that Trump has made admiring statements.
Okay, so I want to talk about this here for a minute. So I might break some people's hearts, make some people mad here, but years ago, after 2020, when the emergency public broadcast system was going to go on and the power was going to be cut and the generals were going to take over and the white hats had control. All this stuff was going on, and people, I've said this before on the show, people were calling me that would normally never call me and be like, hey man, is there any validity to this? Is this true? Is this really going to happen? And I said, you guys need to just stand your ground. Hold on. Just wait a second, okay? There's no verifiable confirmation. I even posted a video about it. It was like my first little live with my phone. Now, I'm not trying to discredit anybody or give anybody... I'm not trying to say that what you believe or what you don't believe is right or wrong. I'm simply saying this. All of this stuff was going to happen. And what I said back a couple of years ago was this. I was like, you're trying to tell me that the generals are going to take control and military is going to intervene. With Mark Milley, okay? General Milley, okay? This guy's a creepoid. This guy is an idiot. And yes, this was a bad pick on Trump's part. But these were the people that you were trying to sell me that were going to take over Trump's generals. I mean, this is where I was going with this. Like, this guy's total clown show. Just a total idiot. And here he is. Was this the big October surprise? You wanted to say that Trump said something good about Hitler? This is brain rot, what we have going on here. This is total brain rot. The news media is absolutely sycophant. I'm at a loss for words without just screaming profanity, because day in and day out we have to listen to this crap. I mean, these people are total liars. They are clinging on to any single thing that they can cling on to put on, Donald Trump. What if we went through, at least what we know of 3 assassination attempts, and they continue to placate like Saul Alinsky, rules for radicals, and they blame Trump for his rhetoric. But this is the crap that they're trying to sell us every single day. Trump is Hitler. Trump is Hitler. Trump. It's beyond a capacity for a normal mind to accept and understand that this is the level we are at. And the media, the mainstream media, is absolute, total garbage. And you can see it sometimes in, like, Anderson Cooper, that creep's eyes. You can see it. That is such a stretch. It is such a stretch to believe and to report on. These people are getting paid for this stuff. They know. Let's not cut any corners here. We know we're not stupid. They're not stupid either. But man, the mockingbird media that just is outrageously trying to control this narrative and make you believe that Trump is Hitler, for God's sakes. It's astounding to me. But it's all garbage. The ladies from The View, you're all garbage. You are garbage people. Okay? Richard Maddow, you are garbage. Who is that woman, the bald lady, Joy Reid? She's teetotal garbage. I mean, I'm so tired of seeing garbage. Everything seems to be garbage coming at us day in and day out. We never can find the truth. They don't give a crap about the truth. They're going to lie to you right off. I mean, they don't even try to cover up their lies anymore. And I just got to rant about it because of how bad it is and how, I saw a comment not too long ago about somebody that was on the show, and they were like, "Oh, you're really hitting the big time, huh?" That doesn't even bother me, man, because at the end of the night, when I turn this camera off and I go home and do my own thing or whatever, I can sleep peacefully at night knowing that I just tried to bring the truth out. I just tried to find common sense in the clown show. But these people, man, Jesus, I don't imagine how they sleep, or at least sleep without being heavily medicated like the rest of these clowns. But it's just, let's continue on. This is just, like I said, it's clown show.
Corrector, repeating Operation Mockingbird lies.
Is also confirming reports that Trump has made admiring statements about Hitler.
Okay. Matt Drudge, who was once hailed a pioneer in conservative media for starting a website and then by chance being handed the Monica Lewinsky story on a silver platter from somebody that he knew, and then publishing it when Newsweek magazine refused to publish it, which then launched his career, which he wrote on that story on the coattails for...
Here we go, Matt Drudge Report. So I look at the Drudge Report every single day. I've been looking at the Drudge Report for probably 12, 13 years now, maybe even 15. But I remember when there was a huge deal when Matt Drudge was on Alex Jones. And God, the lunacy that comes from the Drudge Report now, I have to call it out because I continue. When you watch something that long, like I've said it before, I used to listen to NPR when I was like 8 years old, And when you listen to things so long when you don't understand, and then after a few years, especially when there's a presidential change from red versus blue, and you see the difference of reporting. I mean, now NPR, I wouldn't turn NPR on if I was torturing somebody, right? It's just garbage media that we're paying for, by the way. But Matt Drudge, I always had a lot of respect for Drudge because I thought that the Drudge Report was a news aggregate that you could go to and kind of get a balanced readout of what's really going on. And dude, he fell off the nut tree. I mean, he hit every branch on the way down. He is teetotally nuts, and I guess he always was. And so, yet again, this is just it's become a garbage aggregate. So I always keep Drudge just so I can see how insane the headlines are and compare it to something that's a little bit more balanced. But man, he is a really big letdown, and now he's participating. I mean, obviously he's bought and paid for by some kind of globalist or something, or God knows. But anyway, I feel sorry for Matt Drudge after years of what I thought was decent reporting. But
many years until finally, sadly, getting Trump derangement syndrome, stage 4. He updated his website last night, most likely from a gay bathhouse somewhere in San Francisco, to these ridiculous headlines.
Kit. So very first thing is she has a very
come on with your stupid advertisement. She has a nobody cares what you were selling.
And it wasn't just the top story that they talked about at the top of the hour. It was all they talked about all day, every hour, every
Mockingbird Media
on every show on Clown News and MSDNC. Here's Caitlin Collins returning from a commercial break to continue beating a dead horse to saturate the airwaves with this fake news, just hoping to reach as many morons as possible who happen to tune in to this nonsense.
Back with our breaking news tonight is Donald Trump's former chief of staff, his longest-serving chief of staff, General John Kelly, is now going on the record 2 weeks before the election to say that Trump meets the definition of a fascist and said nice things about Hitler.
Not
this
just
funny
because of his admiration for Adolf Hitler.
This guy.
But because of his...
Do you guys remember this guy? Stop the hammering. You remember him? He is another huge idiot that, and I like Mark. Like I said, you need to go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Phenomenal stuff. But that dude right there is a teetotal idiot, all right? I'm out here doing this thing off of like yard sale equipment. And this guy's up getting paid to look like a teetotal idiot. Oh man, I'm just calling these people out. These people are so stupid, and everybody can see how controlled these people are in the narratives. And now we're starting to see like Elon Musk. Okay, yeah, I know Elon, whatever, controlled opposition, whatever. I love how he posts all the headlines that just they show the same words over and over and over again, like testy. They're getting testy, you know. It's amazing to me that it's so simple to see now, but yet for those of us who have seen it for a long time, it's brain rot, because you've got this multi-conglomerate media industrial complex, the journalism, industrial complex, all this, the little toolkits that Kamala Camel Toe is coming out and saying, "Oh, we've got all the tools. We're prepared." What the hell are you prepared for? All right, I'm gonna stop that thought. Anyway, let's continue on. This is, like I said, this is good stuff.
Admiration for Adolf Hitler's generals. In an article by Jeffrey Goldberg in The Atlantic about Donald Trump's admiration for Hitler
God, I gotta
and
laugh at
Hitler's
this.
generals, who every
person with a brain in America and around the world knows is fake news being spread through Operation
Hugely
Mockingbird.
fake
Here's
news.
Anderson, Operation
All right,
Mockingbird.
yeah, watch
Cooper,
Anderson.
who
Anderson
interned not
knows.
just one summer, but 2 summers with the CIA, and then buried that.
Yeah.
Didn't mention that on his resume until just a few years ago when it was uncovered and published on a website. And then he reluctantly did admit it. Here he is, accidentally admitting the Democrats' playbook, trying to desperately convince the undecided voters that Donald Trump is Hitler.
If there are some people who are undecided, I guess the question is, for those undecided people, do we really want to spend the next 4 years every day with this kind of stuff?
No, absolutely. I mean, this is not a news cycle that I would think Donald Trump would want. But here,
Look at him practically choking on his lies. What a pathetic ending.
Yeah, I agree. This clown. Oh my God! I mean, you remember Anderson Cooper? I tell you, I get offended if somebody like sends me CNN stuff. Like I tell my friend, don't send me CNN. I can. Mark Dice can watch the CNN, so I don't have to. But these people, God have mercy. What a stretch in the questioning and trying to craft some sort of narrative. I mean, you got to admit, man, these people are pretty good at their game to be able to pretend and to act so stupid and talk so stupid about all of this stuff and pretend like it's real. Like this is the best thing they can come up with on October 23rd is that Trump said something good about Hitler? Jesus. The desperation. What is it? A Super Troopers movie. Desperation is a stinky cologne. But this is what they're selling people. And we have a lot of people out here in this nation that, God, are paying attention to this stuff. So I'm not going to spend all night on this video, of course. But I want to keep going because, like I said, it's good. You need to subscribe to Mark Dice because he said it all.
Desperate little demon, who, by the way, gets paid about $50,000 per day.
Wow.
Per show. That's how much these people are making in their salaries.
$50,000.
$1 million
I'd probably
a
lie
month,
too, you know.
$50,000 a show times 20, $12 million a year to sit there and spew these lies to the American people. This fake news originated in The Atlantic, which is an elitist Democrat liberal rag, which is owned by Steve Jobs' widow, Lauren Powell, who admits here the reason why she bought it.
And so it was obvious that if we could be part of the creation of cultural narrative, that would enhance and amplify all the work that we're doing.
Which is Hillary Clinton talked about today, is telling the story, getting the content out.
I'm going to rewind that again. Listen to what she said.
Cultural
Democrat liberal rag, which is owned by Steve Jobs' widow, Lauren Powell, who admits
very important. I want you to listen to what she says.
It's here the reason why she bought it.
And so it was obvious that if we could be part of the creation of cultural narrative, that would enhance and amplify all the work that we're doing.
Which is Hillary Clinton talked about today, is telling the story, getting the content out there.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So these are early days for us, but that's the idea behind it. We want to inspire the kind of stories that we'd like to see told.
They would like to help Operation Mockingbird set the liberal agenda in the mainstream.
Exactly.
But not all.
Okay, so I think I'm going to stop there. Hey, that's an incredible video. Like I said, go ahead and subscribe to Mark Dice on YouTube. Let's get him over the 2 million mark because he is incredible. And he is a total daily for me. But I want you to pay attention to what they said. They're trying to craft the narratives. They are trying to craft the narratives of the information that you receive. It has nothing to do with the truth or justice or the facts of the matter, right? It has nothing to do with getting down to what really happened. They've got to craft these stories and be the inspiration for you. They don't give two shits about the truth, okay? They don't care. They don't care about what's going on. They are all there to craft through the government and the three-letter organizations, all of these entities. They've lost it. Hillary Clinton came out 2 weeks ago and said the same thing. Said, we have to get this back. We must stifle free speech in so many words because we've lost control of the narrative. It's all about the narrative. Okay? Like it or not, that's exactly what they've been doing for decades, and it's exactly what they want to continue doing, and they will never stop trying to shut down your free speech and gain that narrative back, okay? You've got to see and understand what the big picture here is. It's shutting us down, shutting us off, brain rot. They want to keep us in total brain rot all the time. They don't want you thinking. They don't want you to be independent. They don't want you to be able to go to work and pay for your own things and have your own goods. Everything leads up to complete control and depopulation. So I'm going to stop on that note because we're not going there yet. But you have to understand, they're openly telling you when the Google, whatever that witch's name was that had Google, was telling you that yes, they control the search results. Yes, they prioritize mainstream news and they've cut all the search results down, the dead internet theory. Come on. They're openly admitting it. They're openly admitting it in front of Kamala Harris, for God's sakes. And she's sitting there going, she's an idiot. I will argue about this. I know some people said, oh, Kamala's very, very smart. She's really... No. I'm not buying it. Kamala is a teetotal, dead-brained idiot. She does not have any sense, and she is being led on a puppet string to do this, and even she doesn't want to do it. I can tell you right now, she doesn't want to do this. This is total control, and she is a total idiot. And every single interview that we have to painstakingly watch, even the one that aired on NBC about that, the media is kind of turning on her, saying, hey, what about Joe Biden? Everybody knew Joe Biden was a vegetable. Come on, man. That's been the biggest part, is watching the destruction of the presidency from a brain dead idiot while everybody was running cover for him. It was the biggest, reveal of the world, right? It shows that the presidency can be controlled. And why do you think they are so against Donald Trump? I've said it for years, is because he was not a part of this establishment game that was being played. But Kamala's an idiot, man. Teetotal idiot, and I can't find anything that shows me she has a semblance of what she knows what she's doing. For God's sakes. But we're gonna stop there. The Mark Dice video, you need to check it out. Subscribe to his channel. It's well worth the watch. And so, let's see here. All right, now I got my phone pulled up. If anybody wants to make any calls in, I'm just making sure because I got it on silent so it doesn't interrupt us. So here we go. I'm going to move around on a couple other things. And I'm seeing some good comments coming in. So yes. Wonderful. We'll get to comments in a little bit. So let's see. I want to talk a little bit about election integrity. Why? Because it's important. It's important we all understand what we're up against here. And I just want to paint you a couple of pictures real quick. First, I thought this was very interesting. I saw this on a Facebook post. I don't know that they would want me to mention their name on the show. But wouldn't you look at this? So this is kind of, let's go to tinfoil hats territory for a minute. The 75th AFCEA, Atlanta, Georgia, Homeland Security Conference 2024. Now let's look at the dates on this. November 6th and 7th, 2024, in the wonderful ATL of Georgia. General information, the AFCEA Atlanta Homeland Security, Cybersecurity, and Infrastructure Conference will take place at the Atlanta Convention Center in Atlanta on November 6th and 7th. Exhibitor setup takes place on the evening of November 5th and morning of November 6th. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we vote on November the 5th. So I would think that this is some sort of, if it's a cybersecurity and infrastructure conference, a lot of people are going to be flying into Atlanta, so they'll already have voted, and Lord knows what they're going to be coming in to do. This event will focus on Homeland Security topics, including cybersecurity, infrastructure, national security, Homeland Security, and defense. The subject matter will cover industry partnerships and requirements for government agencies in Georgia and the surrounding region. Well, would you look at that? So there were 360 attendees at the 2023 event, including Air National Guard, Army Cyber Institute, wow, Department of Defense, the DOD that just released a civilian assistance with lethality. They're going to be there? Whoa. FEMA. Well, you know, they couldn't make it to North Carolina, so I guess they can make it to Atlanta, right? ICE. Well, I mean, ICE doesn't have anything to do because our damn border's wide open. So why not just send ICE to do an event 201 down in Atlanta, you know, since they're not protecting the border or, you know, deporting illegal immigrants. Local, state, and state government. Well, that's great. I can't wait. Maybe Brad's got time since, you know, he's got this election on lockdown. Maybe Brad Raffensperger can go and maybe he can take a copy of the Halderman report and they can look into it and say, hey, what is this all about? Maybe I need to rethink my job. So we got all this great stuff going on in Atlanta right around election time. So I think that I will let you decide if there's anything to this. And here we go, just so I could verify, what is the AFCEA, right? Because you can't find anything much about them, right? Nothing really. But listen to this. This is, I think this word salad was written by Kamala Harris. Let's see. It's a professional association that connects people, ideas, and solutions globally. What the hell does that mean? We do that by developing networking and educational opportunities and providing them worldwide in an ethical manner. This enables military, government, industry, and academia to align technology to... It's garbage. Garbage. And that's really it. There's a mission. Organization serves members by providing a forum for the ethical exchange of information. What the heck does that mean, ethical exchange of information? It's like the Georgia Data Analytics Center? Huh? It's dedicated to increasing knowledge through the exploration of issues relevant to its members and information technology. This is all a bunch of word salad. This is garbage. But, you know, you try to go find what this thing is about, and there's nothing. But, of course, now you can join, right? Because they're a nonprofit, right? Learn more about our membership. Maybe that was it. I saw somewhere. Membership types. I don't know, like it was like $3,000 to join this thing, and they had different pay grades. I mean, yeah, whatever. Ah, here it is. Pricing. $24.95 for the gold, $29, $4,500, $5,000 platinum non-member, silver, and then you got a bunch of $5,000. That's nuts, man. Nuts. But you make your own decision about that, what they're doing. But I think it's worth watching and looking and see who all is going to be there, because God only knows at this point, right? Because it just seems like every time we have a huge incursion of something happening, there's always some sort of a mock event that takes place right before. I mean, is there a connection? I don't know. You know, we had the same thing on 9/11 when they were doing... Oh, God. It's laughable, the clown world that we're involved in. So, I want to bring up some stuff here real quick, and I don't have all this in order. But I'll play this real quick. I found this today, so we're going to check in. This is Sally Grubbs on Real America's Voice. I was pretty impressed with Sally Grubbs at the SEB meeting before this last one and what she said. So we're just going to take a minute and listen to what she tells Real America's Voice. So
we're going to go right out to Sally Grubbs in the great state of Georgia. Sally, tell us what's going on, boots on the ground.
Good morning. Yes, lots going on, boots on the ground. First of all, with election numbers, Georgia has broken the initial early voting record. Over 300,000 people that got out to vote yesterday, so we're excited about that. But what's really got my concern right now are the rules. We've had 6 rules passed by the state election board that are now under attack with legal proceedings in the Superior Court of Fulton County. My home county of Cobb County, the election board there voted to file a lawsuit, 2 different lawsuits concerning counting the ballots, not counting the votes, but counting the ballots on the precinct level. So unfortunately, last night, a ruling from a hearing that was had yesterday on a restraining order with Judge McBurney. Unfortunately, he found that the task was too difficult for people to count pieces of paper. And so he has ruled against that election board rule. We have hearings continuing today in the eternal vigilance case. So it is just an all-out knockdown, drag-out over some very simple common sense rules on the state level with the Georgia State Election Board.
Okay, so I thought that was a pretty good clip to kind of sum it up on where we're at. You know, we're focusing on election integrity, and there are several lawsuits. There are several rules that the SEB had voted on to get done, special counsel, special investigations, just simple things like in the actual Georgia code and the election law, it states that the votes are counted at the precinct level, which would mean that the precincts each count their votes, and the reconciliation rule that we had covered kind of ad nauseum pretty much stated, hey, you got to count not the votes, but the ballots, and make sure that the pieces of paper, these pieces of paper here, all you got to do is lay them down on the table and say, well, this little receipt says that I've got 10 ballots. It doesn't matter what the hell the ballots say. You say they just want you to make sure. What is the famous analogy behind this is very simple. If you're a small business owner, if you ever worked a job in your entire life, if you've ever had to go and sign out parts, you know, you sign out 2 bearings, you make sure you use those 2 bearings. If you're counting down a cash register somewhere and the little teal, the tape says, hey, you should have $1,000 in this register. Well, you count the dang register and it shows $1,000. If it doesn't show $1,000, then there's something wrong. You're going to find out where the money's at. You see, it's that simple. But no, we're just a bunch of dumb idiots down here, right? That's all the reconciliation rule was. And as you'll see here, okay, why your vote is so important in Georgia, why you must participate, is because your state election officials and your state government is working against you in overtime to not make sure that this is a free and fair election in Georgia. It's just that simple. Anybody that tells you different is a liar. Okay? So we had record-breaking trials that just popped up out of nowhere with fair fight. Stacey Abrams, fair fight. You know, all these people that they have no idea. I don't know if they can speak English, but they can chant, fair fight. You know, and then they start saying racism. It's, you know, black people don't know how to use a phone, a computer. That's coming from them saying that we're too stupid. Everybody's too stupid to do this, and that we would be wasting our time on election night, even early voting, record early voting, to make sure that the tabulators match the ballots, right? What have you created? A paper trail. You've created a paper trail so that every night. Why Fulton County? Because Fulton County had thousands upon thousands of ballots missing and tabulator tapes missing. Floyd County, the same thing. Several counties. We had tabulator tapes missing and nobody could verify any of this stuff. It's common sense, folks. It's common freaking sense here. Yet you have immediate lawsuits to go through. And now this case has already been seen by the Georgia Supreme Court and been denied, saying that they should not be counting the ballots and matching the tabulators because it takes too much time. And people essentially just don't know how to count. You can't ask some old lady or some old man to sit down and count those ballots every night. That's crazy. No. Just put them all on a disc and call Papa John's and have Papa John's throw it in a pizza bag and bring it on down here to my office, Secretary of State, see? It's all completely crazy that we have Republicans in these positions. We have a Republican Supreme Court that are ruling against all this stuff, that are ruling against election integrity. It's sickening. It's maddening, right? So let's move on. So appreciate Sally. She did a really good job on the last SEB meeting, so much so that I had cut some clips out to share. Never got to them, but she sums it up pretty good there. And she's right down in Cobb County and stuff. And she, there were so many people working on all this stuff too. But that was a pretty good sum up. So let's just talk a little bit about that. So I talked to you about the Georgia Supreme Court blocking this decision, mainly reconciliation. They're doing everything they can while they're telling you that we've got record turnout and Georgia's the number one state to do business and we got the best damn elections you've ever seen down here. And here we are with Georgia Supreme Court halts controversial election rules amid high early voter turnout. So let's see what this says. This is from WJCL. I actually pulled up the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, probably a Greg Bluestein article, and they wanted me to pay behind a paywall, and I wouldn't pay for their garbage reporting if my life depended on it. So I'm glad because I found a much better article. The Georgia Supreme Court won't let the state election board enforce a slate of controversial. Now, this is controversial. Listen, you don't understand how important it is. Like you can't count pieces of paper. You can't count ballots. No. That's you're going to screw everything up. All right, back to it. Controversial new election rules that were passed by they always say that the allies of Donald Trump. This is garbage media. It's garbage media. Allies of Donald Trump. Oh, Jesus. I hope everybody's seeing this. Ruling Tuesday against Republicans who asked for them to be revived as early voting got underway in the critical battleground state. Critical battleground state. Yeah, it is. The order is listen to this. Now, this was ruled by a Republican Supreme Court, right? And now they're the ones making it political. I'm not. This is what this says. The order is a major victory for Democrats and others, maybe called rhinos, who have filed a slew of lawsuits against the rules, arguing the board exceeded its authority when it passed them. This is a joke, people. Among the 7 rules is one that would require county election officials to conduct a reasonable inquiry into election results before certifying them, and another that would allow them to examine all election-related documentation created during the conduct of elections prior to certification. They don't want anybody looking at this stuff. Do you understand? They don't want anybody looking at this stuff. They don't want paper trails. They don't want the tabulators. They want you to just shut up and send them the disc. You understand what I'm saying? Other rules would have required officials to hand count the number of ballots cast at each polling station on election day, right? Well, duh. Hey, it's the end of the day. Hey, Mrs. Smith, will you come over here and let's take these votes out, these ballots out. And I've got the receipt right here that says we took in 300. How about you and Clarissa sit down and we'll count and make sure it's 300 pieces of paper. That is way too hard and way too controversial, see? Because we're a bunch of stupid idiots down here, right? The number of casts at each polling place on election day. Now, mind you, this would be done for early voting as well. Each day at the end of early voting, you can do this and keep like a running tally, like a day by day. There you have documentation. Like on Monday, we took in 300 ballots. On Tuesday, we took in 700 ballots. On Wednesday, you see? That's simple, folks. Expanded the number of areas they say other rules would have required officials to hand count the number of ballots at each election day, expanded the number of areas poll watchers can access, and required after-hour video surveillance of drop boxes at early voting locations. Well, I mean, that sounds pretty dang sensible to me. Why in the world would we not want to secure the elections? I don't get it. Well, because they don't want to. We'll get to that in a minute. But you see here, folks, how simple it is and how you're being lied to. You're being lied to. Georgia, whose 16 electoral votes are crucial for both Trump and Democratic nominee Vice President Camel Toe Harris, has been seeing high early voter turnout in 2024 election. State election officials Gabriel Sterling, said on Tuesday that 25% of the state's active voters have already cast a ballot. Yep. And then it comes a unanimous decision from the conservative majority court was technical. I don't even care if they're conservative. They're stupid. What in the world? Why in the world wouldn't you want these things in place? They should already be doing it anyway. The justices did not rule on the legality of the 7 rules, but instead declined to pause a decision issued by a lower court judge last week that struck them down. So see, do you understand? They're not arguing that they were not legal to do that. They just were there to pause the rule that said, no, we ain't going to do this. We're going to come visit it afterwards, right? Just like the other cases that are completely held up in court, just like the Totenberg case that's not been ruled on yet. They're just placating their time. They're placating all of our time. They don't give two shits about you. They don't care about election integrity, which is why you have to go vote and safeguard your ballot and be there and get in the game, because these people don't care. Now, they're going to tell you they care, and they're going to go on their little Fox News and their little CBS, and they're going to say, well, we've got the cleanest voter rolls in the world. Okay? And then they're going to tell you, well, no. Donald Trump's lying because he's talking about 7 days, 7 days, 7 days to count. That's not true. Well, let me show you something. So just so you know, this is from the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, military and overseas voting. So here's all of your voting rights and blah, yada, yada. And I'm not even arguing against this. Some people are worried about this. I mean, I get it too. But it says it right here. Let me just find it really quick. Oh, I just had it. Okay, it's in here somewhere. Talks about 3 days. 3 days. Let's see. All ballots. Number 6, all ballots. Let me make sure I got this pulled up for you. Sorry about that. This is from the Secretary of State's website. We're looking at number 6 on the bottom. It says, all ballots postmarked by the date of primary, election, or runoff will be counted if received within 3 days of Election Day, which means that it can, as long as it's postmarked by that day and they receive it within 3 days of Election Day. So they're given this leeway. Now, look, I'm trying to be real here. I'm not arguing and saying that you don't give leeway, but we shouldn't be given this leeway. But some places like, Arizona, they were given 10 days. I mean, they're doing this stuff on purpose. We should be able to have all of these things in place before the election. There should be an earlier cutoff so that you don't get any within 3 days. But you see, you're not dealing with people who want to fix the elections. You're not dealing with people who want to play by the rules. You're dealing with people who are either just evil or they're being forced to do this crap. So, according to Raffensperger, which I'm not going to play the video, and it just says the ballot will not be accepted if it's returned by a facsimile email. So, either way you slice it, you could be potentially facing a 3-day delay. But according to Raffensperger, 75% of the votes will be in, and possibly waiting on another 25%, blah, yada, yada. But here's the kicker. If you remember, in 2020, the famous phone call between all these yahoos, if you remember that essentially Donald Trump lost by 12,000 votes, 11,000, blah, yada, yada votes. That's a pretty tight margin there. So if you're telling me 75% of the vote, and you're telling me this, 75% of the vote will be in, 25% of that's a pretty big number, a percentage for how close that this election could come to this battleground state, see? So you want to freak out? Now, I'm not saying they broke the law according, I guess this is the election law or whatever, but you understand the picture I'm painting for you? They're giving a 3-day grace on all this crap, which is just going to, God only knows where we're at, which is why, again, you have to go vote. All right, we want to overwhelm the algorithms. We want to overwhelm the state where it doesn't come to 12,000 votes. But this is asinine here. This is the classic example of they're telling you one thing while doing another all the freaking time. Okay. I'm not a rocket scientist. I mean, most of the stuff, I've been listening to stuff all day. War Room, Gwinnett County, earlier today. I listened to almost the whole thing. I went back and started watching it. Like, most of this stuff's been on my mind all day, and I just had questions pop up when I see these interviews. I've had people texting me this stuff going, hey, what's this all about? But you see the article, well, I can try to pull it up real quick, but there's an interview with Raffensperger where they're distorting what Donald Trump said. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Anyway, it's Brad Raffensperger on TV talking about the whole interview is about 7 days. Well, is Donald Trump right about 7 days? No, he's not right about 7. Not one time during the interview did he mention that there's going to be a 3-day grace for overseas ballots. But they're making light of some comment that Donald Trump said that probably wasn't even about Georgia. I don't know. But about 7 days. You see the wordplay and the Mockingbird style media and the narrative they're trying to paint you. It's ridiculous here. But man, I was checking out some of Liz Harrington's stuff, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I'll just cover a few things here, as we approach the last part of this. But I didn't want to go crazy on election integrity either. Emergency appeals filed in DeKalb and Secretary of State Raffensperger. We're fighting to ensure true fitness, faith, integrity, and trust in our elections. Our motion demands transparency, security, blah, yada, yada. DeKalb GOP versus Raffensperger. Now, why would DeKalb GOP be against Raffensperger? Well, because Raffensperger does not have your best interest at hand. All right. And this is Liz Harrington. If you want to go follow her on Twitter. Here's another one. The system's encryption keys are stored unprotected and in plain text in the election database, leaving it wide open to manipulation. Dominion hard-coded a password into its election systems, that has been publicly known since at least 2020. It's DVS Corp 08. A lot of you people know exactly what I'm talking about. DVS Corp 08. And you know that our election systems has not been... I'm sorry. I got you. So hang on a minute. We are going to call Tyler Martin back and get him on the phone because I did miss his call.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Oh, no. Call back, Tyler. I let my phone go. Hang on. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's see if I can get him. There we go. Hello.
Okay.
Hey, Tyler Martin, what's going on? First call. You are the first call of the show. What is going on, my man?
What's going on? So I just tried to call earlier, and I'm not sure if it went through or not.
It did. My phone's on silent, brother, and I had it up, and it was blacked out, and I just checked it. So you're good.
Okay.
What's on your mind tonight?
So I see where you're talking about elections and everything, and I just want to ask, because we've got to bring this up to people and get them thinking, because there's a lot of naysayers, and there's also a lot of people that are new to this. But you and I have been at this for quite some time. And when before 2020 did we ever have elections take days to figure out?
Never. The only time I can remember in previous history was Florida. If you remember, it was Gore versus Bush, and we had the Chad incident that happened in Florida.
The hanging Chad.
The hanging Chads. That's about it. It was a machine issue. But never. We've never been in any kind of territory like we're in now, or 2020, or even 2016 for that matter. So.
2000, we were punching little. Well, I wasn't of age then, but you're punching little tickets for your vote and turning it in on your ballot. It's like the old school. Some of you in here probably remember, but the old school test, but you had a punch where you'd punch a hole in a card, and that's how they tabulated ballots. Now, why did we go to a new election system? Why did we go to a new electronic election system?
Well, if you've never seen the documentary called Kill Chain that HBO released prior to 2020, that was about the 2016 election, that showed how these machines can be manipulated and why they went to Dominion and where Dominion was born. But guess what? If you even utter those words, I'm liable to get a community strike. And it tells exactly how all this stuff's happening and how it's been happening for the Diebold systems or Diebold, the EHS systems, all became Dominion. So you can't even share that information.
But they sold it to us that, oh, it's going to make the elections more secure, which I don't understand how getting away from paper ballots that a person physically has to do. I don't understand how we get away from that.
I don't either.
At the same time, they sold it to us that, oh, it's going to make elections faster. We're going to be able to tabulate, the votes faster, and it'll be over. So we'll have another Florida hanging Chad incident.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they sold us on.
Well, not only that,
I was coming of age whenever these were being introduced, the electronic machines. That's the time that I came of age to be able to vote.
That's right. And it's funny because now we have all of these wonderful get out early and vote days, right? You can go days and days, weeks ahead of a vote, and you can put in your vote. We have record numbers of voters now in every single state, right? But guess what? It's going to be too hard for the election poll watchers in each precinct to match the actual physical ballots with a tabulator receipt because they're just too darn busy.
Well, they're challenging it with lawsuits now too, like you were just talking about.
Yes,
they're doing this in the 5th hour. See, they waited. We did all this hard work since 2020, and all they knew that they had to do is just wait, so they can tie it up in the legal system where the new rules can't even be enacted.
Yes.
So they're going to stop poll watchers from even being able to see the ballots and being able to verify. So the only thing the poll watchers are going to be able to do is see if a ballot dump comes in. Well, how do you determine that?
Exactly.
They're going to be wiser this time around. I don't think you're going to see a massive ballot dump.
No.
Like they did. They're going to slot them in. And on the other side of it, okay, now that everybody's voted in Georgia, you know what happens. You go in and punch your thing and it prints out a piece of paper. Well, who's to say after hours somebody's not sitting there making a lot of phony ballots?
Sure. Sure. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, all of those are absolutely valid concerns, but we have no idea what they're going to throw at us. Now, we do know in 2020 they had the guise of COVID. The election officials in certain states actually changed the election law while nobody was paying attention. Everybody was on lockdown, so they could do whatever the hell they wanted to do, bringing in boxes of ballots and telling us that we got a leak in the stadium. We got to ship everybody out, They don't have that same coverage that they have done in the past. And to emphasize your point, they thought that we were just a bunch of dumb hicks and that eventually we were going to just peter out and not bring up all these 2020 and 2022 anomalies. And I think what's happened, Tyler, is that we've gotten so close to they're burning their leg hairs in the fire that this was some emergency injunctions that our state, I'm going to say it, I believe that our state government worked with Fair Fight and the Democrats to push these lawsuits in and get this all the way to the Supreme Court in just a record few days while election cases roll on for months, if not years, and they're unsettled.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They knew. They were complicit. The people like Roethlisberger, probably even Kemp, is complicit in this, and they knew the game. They're going to be like, oh, we're going to do all this, and we're going to push all this, and we're going to back Trump. Trump's our best friend now. We're sorry. But they knew what was cooking.
Well,
they knew what was cooking up.
I mean, let's be honest. The only reason these people in Georgia are backing Trump, now I'm not talking about a blanket, but I'm talking about the present company mentioned. The only reason these people are backing Trump is because they know they need the Republican Party. They have their little coalition groups and their little tea drinking groups, but they know ultimately you've got to have the ballot access from the Republican Party. So they're trying to come back around full circle and get back in the good graces of all of us voters and all of us GOP people so that we'll vote for them in 2026 while they continue to, well, I won't say what I was going to say, but that's what's going on there. So, yeah, man, it's a crap show, isn't it?
I mean, it is just mind-boggling. And I sat here and I thought about it, and I started to get mad about what they're doing and how they're going to challenge these in these courts. And of course, it's going to be Obama era appointed judges that are presiding over these cases that have a clear and present bias against the whole outcome and situation. Of course, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. Not only that, you have a conservative Supreme Court that ruled that these reconciliation rules, that the SEB has overstepped their boundaries. They don't want to rule on why or whether it's legal. They just want to put a stop to it, a pause on it before election. That's insane to me.
What they're doing. I can't drive it home enough for people. Like, you have to get out and vote. Like, we need a massive turnout. That's the only way. Like, if you look back, and there's still some people out there on the conservative side that are naysayers about the cheating, but
I know.
And just like others in the beginning, I was a little like,
sure,
I don't know. And then when I seen that curve, I can't think of his name that did the presentation, and I think you did the live video and posted the video of him doing the presentation.
Yes.
Where you had that same curve in the graph in multiple battleground states.
Oh yeah, that was Seth. Not Seth Keshel, but the other guy. Dang it, I can't think of his name. But yeah, you can see it all over the place when you look into these algorithms. I was the same way, man.
Unnatural. It's an unnatural, straight up growth. No other votes, only for one specific party. Trying to be careful in the way I word things, that way you don't get a strike.
Oh, you're good.
But it's only one all of a sudden, and it's like, I don't buy that, because even in polling, even whatever, even in a major Democrat area or Republican area, there's going to be some people that lean one way or the other. But all these ballots that came in were just magically at that time counted for one party.
Sure.
And it's like, it's been in the headlines, all the talk about Venezuela and how their election was stolen.
They've actually they actually arrested the voter people. Was it EHS or the Diebold? I can't remember which one, but they actually arrested those people.
And the Biden administration come out and condemned it and accused them of falsifying the election.
Sure.
And guess what? If you dig, guess what the graph looks like?
Let me guess, a curve.
Late night curve. At a certain point, all of these ballots came in at the same time.
Sure. Well,
and I think what people fail to realize as well is our government, our intelligence agencies have been involved in manipulations of elections for decades. Decades and decades. Well, where do these people go when they're done? When they hang up their hat working for the government and retire out, where do they go?
They probably go to the election companies. Yeah, privatized election companies. We've got a slew of people.
Yeah.
Information technology. I'm telling you, it's wild. You can't make this stuff up. And for the naysayers, I want to go back a little bit what you said. Me and you have been together in this for a long time, and we've had several shows together. And I was at the point in 2022 where I was just ready to kind of drop the election integrity myself. Let's just move on. We're not going to find anything. Thank God I wasn't in any kind of charge or control, because what we've been able to uncover, what people have uncovered in the last 2 years, like beyond a shadow of a doubt, we've got court cases that prove all of these allegations. Nobody's even trying to disprove this stuff. They're just turning the other cheek and moving the other way. But when you realize that it's that bad, especially in this state, and then you have to continue to listen to these lies about how we're the safest election, we got the cleanest voter rolls, it's all a facade, man.
It is. I mean, nobody in 2020 thought Georgia would be red. Nobody.
No.
And it was very minute, the amount that it went red. And then, like you were saying, like, ballots were found mysteriously. Lost ballots.
Oh, uncreased ballots, right? Brand new ballots sitting on tables. Videos of people pulling ballots out. Videos on Fox News of people recounting ballots over and over again. I mean, not to mention the algorithms, and now we know that the encryption code to get into a Dominion voting system, if anybody has the right tools, they can just hack one and get right in the program. And they've not been updated, nothing. It's wild
well,
to
it's
me.
like if you look into, there's a lot of ethical hackers out there now that are coming out on YouTube and other platforms that are explaining how hackers attack you.
Yep.
And it's like they can use devices, and as long as that device that has some sort of Bluetooth connection, they can get into it. They can spoof. If it has Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi connection, they can spoof that connection and go into it and do whatever they need to do.
That's right. I don't know if you can see the screen, but you see, I got a corded mouse and keyboard now because a few weeks ago that same thing happened to me. My mouse got hijacked, out of my control, and I just had to finish the show without a mouse because I even went and hooked another one up. It was Bluetooth. Now, I don't know what that was, but I lost control. Never, of course they can get into your stuff. It's wild,
They
man.
can spoof it and log your keystrokes, everything.
Yes.
So, like, even on a personal security thing, having any kind of Bluetooth keyboard stuff is a very, very bad idea if you're working on sensitive data.
Yeah, I do agree. I've learned my lesson. I've gotten rid of all that. Went back to corded keyboards and mouse. So, somebody made fun of me last week, and they're like, "You still got a corded mouse?" I said, "It's a long story, but I know I'm safe." So.
It's the best practice.
But man, I agree with you. We have to vote like we've never voted before. The old cliche, this is the most important election. I believe that cliche has kind of come to a head here because we cannot afford this idiocracy of a Kamala Harris presidency and to continue to run America in the ground. This is insane.
It boils down, do you want things to continue on the path they're on? Do you want to see your children get drafted into a war? Because make no mistake, once they kick us into a war, our kids are going to go and fight this war that we don't agree with, that we have no business being in. That's the path we are going down. And that's what you need to think about. If you're a parent or if you have, nieces and nephews, cousins, whatever, if you have kids in your life, you need to look down at them and say, I want what's best for them.
Yeah.
Is Donald J. Trump the biggest role model? No. He's not anybody's first pick, but I know that at least we're going to get a 4-year break.
That's right.
I know that he will do everything he can to keep us out of a conflict that will break this country. Like any kind of conflict we go into right now will completely break this country.
You're 100% right. And then, we also have to talk about, like, to the MAGA crowd and the people, like, are you going to continue to fight when Donald Trump, if he gets elected and he stays there and we see a successful inauguration? Because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Democrats are pulling out all the stops. The three-letter organizations, they're already gearing up against the American people, and their plan is to put us into civil strife, if not a full-blown civil war. They're saying it every single day.
I mean, we need another J. Edgar Hoover is what we need in the FBI. Like,
sure,
people talk about the FBI and it being weaponized and everything, but I mean, that's what Hoover did. His entire goal of the FBI was to hunt down communist spies.
That's right.
And he was successful in it, And it's crazy when people forget this now, or they're not even taught it in schools anymore. But that period of time, the Cold War, is something to look at because it's something we're still locked into. Like,
that's right.
The players have changed, but the game is the same.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. Man. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you calling in, man. You were my first caller. My XXL dude, everybody needs to know he's got a YouTube channel called XXL Dude. Some of the best content out there, man.
I appreciate it, man. I just want to close out and say, like, I know a lot of us, it's hard for us right now. I know a lot of us it's hard to enjoy things. It's hard to look at life the same. It's hard to sit down with your family in the holidays with everything going on. And what you're feeling is an unnatural thing. Like, your body, your subconscious, your genetic natural programming is recognizing that something is inorganically being forced on it.
That's right.
That's why you feel this way. And the more aware and the more gut feelings you go with and understand, the better you're going to feel.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing here for everybody, is to understand that feeling that something unnatural is acting upon you. And if you're religious, it's Satan. If you're not religious, it's negative energy. And you need to understand that. Like, you're being manipulated in ways you don't even know.
That's 100% right, man. That's 100% right. Brother, I appreciate you.
Well, do the right thing. Get out and vote. Bring somebody with you.
Yes. 100%, man. All right. We'll talk to you soon, my brother. All right. The phones are back open again. That was awesome. Tyler, y'all know how I feel about Tyler. We're very close. We've been working on all kinds of stuff for years, and like I told you at the beginning of the show, he relit my fire because that's all it takes is just some fellow brothers just coming out and giving their own rant, because we need to get this out of our system. He said it perfectly. We're being manipulated through all of this stuff, okay? Every bit of it, we're being manipulated. All right. Thank you again, man. And y'all check out his YouTube channel, XXL Dude. It's wonderful, wonderful stuff, and he works really hard on it. So if you haven't subscribed, man, check it out. So I'm going to pull up just a little bit more, and then we're going to go to comments. So we know about the encryption code. Let's see. Despite Raffensperger's direct knowledge of these security failures, Gabriel Sterling continues to publicly gaslight Georgia citizens, stating that Georgia has the most secure elections in the world. That wasn't my words. I told you that earlier. There it is. We are the number one leader in the world in Georgia, with all of these wonderful lawsuits and Supreme Court rulings, and how we don't want to count the pieces of paper to match the tabulator, but we're number one. Jesus Christ. Let's see. There was something specific I was going to look at. There's the other appeals for DeKalb. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There's Donald Trump right there, man, serving French fries from McDonald's. That was a great troll. I mean, he's the king of trolling, man. That's all I can say. I love it. I want to speak to the manager. Y'all should check out Liz Harrington. I don't know Liz Harrington, but she got some good stuff out there. But there was, is it this one? Let's go ahead and play this real quick. I got it pulled up here. I'm going to pull it up. This is what I want you to hear, because the manipulation of the word 7 days, right? What I just showed you about how we're probably going to be 3 days late on an election, but they don't say anything about this. But let's just hear how the manipulation, how the narrative is manipulated here, okay?
As I understand it, nearly all votes cast in this upcoming election will be recorded on paper.
Nearly.
Last night.
Absolutely. 100% will be. And
Okay.
it's actually security paper with the state seal on it.
Okay, important
security
point
QR
to
code.
establish, because yesterday President Trump said something that implies that because it can take time to tabulate votes, there might be something nefarious here. Take a listen.
We spend all this money on machines, and then they announce, we expect to have the results like 7 days after the election.
Just what
if
Tyler
you had
was
paper
talking
ballots,
about.
you get them at 10 o'clock. France went to paper because what we did didn't work.
Right, because you'd be counting the ballots every day and match them up with the tabulator, and you would have all that under your belt, and then election day, you'd be able to count whatever's in the damn machine, and then you'd be able to do it, but they don't want you to do that. Now, notice, nowhere in here does it say anything about Georgia, right? You see this setup interview here. So here we go. Let's continue on.
He's pointing to a lack of paper ballots as a problem here. Is he accurately describing what's happening, and how long will it take to tabulate votes?
In Georgia, 100% of all the votes cast will be on a paper ballot. But actually, nationwide, it's going to be over 96 to 97% of all voting in America will be on paper ballots. But we also just put into law this year with SB 189 that all early votes and all early accepted ballots, they all will have to have their results reported by 8 p.m. That's 70, maybe even 75% of all the vote totals will be reported no later than 8 p.m. on election night.
Won't take 7 days to tabulate votes, as he said?
Absolutely not. What we will be waiting for is the overseas ballots that come in no later than Friday, and so those will then be the final
3
numbers.
days.
And we'll just see if that makes the difference in the total vote totals. I understand.
There you go. See, you see what I'm saying? I'm not making any of this stuff up. We're just pulling this out from what they're saying themselves. It's all doublespeak here. I'm not even faulting him for that. Sure, I think they should have plans in place so that you don't have late ballots, right? I understand things can happen overseas, but my point is they took that entire news segment and tried to make it like it was specific to Georgia, and not once was it mentioned until he said in Georgia. You see how crappy the media is and the narratives that they try to inspire you with, okay? All of this stuff should make you want to get off of your tuchus and go down and vote on election. I don't give a crap if you go early. Vote. Because this is the kind of stuff you're up against. This double speak, that you're up against these people who do not want things to match. They do not want security. And they're simply telling you, look, go back and do the math in your head. I'm not a brain surgeon here like Ben Carson. Look, 75%, and then that leaves the other 25%. So we'll see. That's what he said. Well, guess what? Georgia lost in 2020 by about 12,000 freaking votes. So yeah, people are a little bit upset with that. People are wondering what the hell is going on. But no, we're conspiracy theorists. We're crazy extremists. Jesus, man. It's not hard to figure out, y'all. You guys see how important that it's going to be for you to vote. Now, let's see. We did the military, the Georgia Supreme Court. Now, this is probably one of the last ones I'll end with. So this is from the War Room. I had this last week. I'm going to pull this up real quick, and I'll just show you yet again, how much they're trying to control the... all right. Sorry. Here we go. I get it up there? Yeah. So let's read this a little bit. This is from Fulton War Room by Liz Harrington on the 16th. It's now the 23rd. Fulton County, the one county that's had the most problems with election integrity, I would say, next to like Floyd, Cobb, Gwinnett. All right. The one county that's got thousands and thousands of tabulator, votes missing, ballots missing, that we cannot get a court case to rule on, yet the Supreme Court said, man, you got to slow down. You're overwhelmed. Your election precincts, you ain't going to be able to, they can't count. All right. They can't count. Fulton County spending $600 an hour to avoid independent monitor over its elections. Let's read a little bit of this here. Voting just began in Georgia, and the Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections is busy paying an attorney $600 an hour to try to block independent monitors from getting to observe the count. The Fulton Election Board filed a lawsuit again, it's all lawfare, against the state election board for their proposal to add 2 additional and actually independent monitors to observe the 2024 voting and counting process. Independent. The only problem, the elections board never voted to hire the attorney, Michael W. Tyler, or file a lawsuit against the state election board. The decision was made unilaterally by Sherry Allen, the chair of election board. Let's see what Sherry Allen has to say.
Second regular meeting agenda.
I've not watched this clip
members
yet.
Of the board, we have an item that has been requested to be added to today's second regular meeting agenda by Commissioner Thorne. 240691. Discussion. Procedural irregularities in Board of Commissioners and Board of Registration and Elections approval to file lawsuit.
Okay, to add.
Bet that one's going to go through pretty quick.
It was ratified later. It was filed without approval by.
Hang on, let me go back. Here we go.
The emergency is that a lawsuit was filed on behalf of the Board of Registration and Elections on Monday. It was filed without approval by the actual Board of Elections members. It was ratified later after the effect on Thursday. The lawsuit also was using outside counsel that we did not approve for that purpose. So we basically have an unelected official making the decision to spend $600 per hour for outside counsel that we did not approve.
What's your motion to add?
My motion is to add a discussion item to the agenda.
October 16th. That will be a discussion after the election, but you understand yet again how important your vote is in this. You have got to fight the system. You've got to get involved in this because we need every single freaking vote to make it through, man. All right, you can't sit this one out, Man, I'm going a little bit long, but I want to just remind you guys a couple things before we go to comments. In 2016, the Democrats said the election was stolen. The algorithms didn't work, right? We understand that we're using these electronic systems like Tyler was talking about. We understand that the odds were against Donald Trump. We understand Hillary Clinton was the favored candidate. Donald Trump had turned in from an overnight success to everybody loves Raymond to the kid in the corner who blew up the school. But their algorithms didn't work. Why? Because we had a huge voter turnout and it overwhelmed the algorithms. All right, and they had 4 years. They had 4 years to go back through and to complete that algorithm, and they had the guise of COVID to complete that algorithm and complete all of this multilateral planning throughout swing states to do what they did. We have video evidence, we've got analytical evidence, we've got digital evidence. We know what happened. The American people know exactly what happened. There's no question now. There's zero question about election integrity now. If you're still out, well, I know a lot of the naysayers now keep their mouths shut. They simply just don't say anything about it. When a couple of years ago we were being touted as, well, y'all need to shut up. Y'all are hurting the election process. Shut up, you idiots. Okay? We know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Okay? But that's what they fed us in 2016. All right? And what did we go through besides COVID in 2016? Millions and millions and millions of dollars in investigations trying to prove that Russia collusion, the Kill Chain documentary that I talk about, 2,000 Mules, all of these things that you can't even talk about, right? No, 2020, they did it. They did it, and they were sitting back on their hands, and they had all the little Republicans. At first, our Republicans were like writing letters, right? We understand. Well, there's some serious issues here, some allegations. Boom! What happens? All of a sudden, they're playing by the same book. You see the Democrats on TV. We counted them things 3 times. All of this crap's going on, and they thought we were a bunch of dumb yokel hicks and that we would just leave it alone. 2022, to me, was the biggest indicator of election integrity by the margin of votes. And my single biggest indicator was the margin of votes with Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams. It's right out there in the open. We're not even to 2022 yet because we've uncovered so many things that has happened. And we've tried so hard that we got this year, finally got the traction this year and got so close. All of a sudden they said, my God, we've got to start suing now, and turned it into total lawfare. And here we are with the Georgia Supreme Court passing the buck. Don't have any case rulings from Judge Totenberg. All of these reconciliation laws, they can't do it. Why? Because we're too stupid to count. Okay? We've had very little to no support from our Georgia legislature in this state. We are on our own as the grassroots people on the ground, constantly painted as conspiracy theorists and extremists. We've got no support. Instead, we have Raffensperger going on and doing some stupid interview about something Trump said about 7 days and then correlating it with Georgia. We've got the most secure elections in the world, from Gabe Sterling. Well, we're more secure than the physical lock on your door. Fair fight, hugely fast trials that just came in just like that. Yet we can't even get a ruling on a trial about DVS Corp 08. 3 assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life. We still don't have an official story from these assassination attempts. And now the rhetoric started again. Oh, Trump's Hitler. Trump's Hitler. Trump loves Hitler. From General Milley, General Lardass. He's a total POS. The Democrat Party's insane. The media is insane. The rhinos are insane. It is no longer business as usual. We are not going to conduct ourselves. Each one of you people, we know you by name. We know you by your fruits. You will not get reelected. You will be taken out of the political theater, and we're going to put people in that cares about the people and transparency. And the next person that tells me Georgia's the #1 state to do business in is a global commie. That's all that is. It's code word for communism. It's global for Chinese CCP globalism. That's all this is. The next person that starts talking about democracy, that's a dirty word for Marxism, socialism. We are not a democracy, nor do we ever want to be a democracy. The goal is to kill the middle class, to take all of your possessions away from you, and destroy, by depopulation, all of the naysayers, the people they don't want, because they are moving us into transhumanism. I've talked about it several times, and I'm going to leave it at that. Make no mistake, guys, another thing, and then we'll go move the comments. When Donald Trump wins this election, I do not think that they can cheat their way out of this. Nor am I still 100% that we will have an election on November 5th, because God knows what's in the works right now. Geopolitically, we already know the Democrats are plotting to simply not inaugurate this man and come up with civil war. Believe it. It's not hyperbole. This is what the DOD has come out with. This is what your Democrat senators and congressmen are talking about. They're literally ready to fight over this. They're gaslighting you at every bit of the way. And yes, we're being manipulated through brain rot. But you better be ready when Donald Trump makes it over that finish line, because it ain't going to stop. We're not going to be able to sit on our hands. We're not going to be able to say, we dodged a bullet. Okay? Because they're going to come at us all over the place. They're going to start the race wars back up. They're going to start burning the cities. They're going to start gaslighting us into oblivion, because already the gaslighting is off the hook, and we barely can take it now. You better be in it for the long haul. All right. So I've covered everything I want to cover. I'm going to go through the comments, because I've been on here for a good long while. And Jamie Hulsey, thank you, brother, for watching. Jamie Hulsey is a wonderful patriot who's making great strides in our little county up here. Randall Jones, good to see you, sir. Thank you for watching. Antonio, keep up the great work. You do the same, brother. Appreciate everything you do. Tyler, as always, appreciate you. Jeff Conley says, rock on, superstar. You were on it. Superstar, man. I'm just a dude running my mouth. Jamie says they emulate evil. They really do emulate evil. That's all you can. I mean, this is a spiritual battle. We know this. Look, back a few months ago, I always could understand why is we in an upside down world? Why is this clown world? Why is all these things happening? But you realize that the devil owns this world. You realize that the devil has this world, and it's a spiritual battle. And the devil uses money and power and influence, and he uses seats at the table to get what he wants. All right. We've covered how you'd have a freshman representative come in that's got the iron will and ready to change things and ready to do things. Now they get sat down at that table and they get told, hey, you either do what we say or we're going to ruin your life. That's how come we only have 2 or 3 people in this state that's even fighting for the people, that's even standing up, and then they get ridiculed by everybody else. Why? Well, I lost their position. They lost their whatever. I'd rather stand with those people than I would just to watch this clown show move on. You don't understand, man. It's not business as usual. We're getting away from that. We need more people, better people to stand up and make things right. What am I asking for? I'm asking for truth and transparency. You can see them actively fighting against it every single step of the way, okay? Tyler says they want us disassociated. You dang right they do. And they infiltrate the grassroots, and they use the grassroots, and they call us extremists, and they think that we're just talking out of our head. And then those who want the seat at the table, boy, they sure jump on board too. Say, y'all are crazy. Yeah, whatever. I mean, you can call me whatever the hell you want to. I don't care. Tyler says, Matt sold Drudge. All of these news agencies are being sold and bought out. Soros bought over 100 radio stations. Hadn't covered that either. Where are all the conservative talk shows now? As far as I know, Matt Drudge has not sold the Drudge Report, and he's still alive and well and using it. And that I don't know that for a fact, but that's what Mark Dice and Alex Jones say, that it's verified he still owns it. So I don't know. One flew over the cuckoo's nest, or could it be something else? But I know one thing. They should call it the Sludge Report now, because whatever's got a hold of it is a nasty virus. Tyler says, hey, everyone watching, please be sure to like this. It helps Roy out. It does. If you're still watching, please share it to a group. I'm limited now to how many groups I can share. If you like this sort of thing and you want to share it with others, that helps me out more than anything. Jamie says, cult comes to mind. It is a cult, man. They've done experiments. You know, we're talking about MK Ultra, and you even show it on NBC News about the experiments where these controlled experiments where there'll be like 10 people walk into a room, right? And like 9 of those people are all actors. And one person comes in and they're all waiting on like an appointment, right? Well, all those 9 actors, they hear like this ding or a bell and they all stand up. And at first, the 10th person has no idea what's going on, you know. They're just sitting down like, what the crap? Why are they standing up? And so the 9 actors sit back down, and then a little while later, another beep happens, and then the other 9, they stand up. And so this person's sitting here looking at this, look at the influence, and be like, why is everybody standing for the beep? And then by about the 3rd or 4th time, guess what? That person is doing the exact same thing, not realizing subconsciously what they're doing. Not realizing that they're just following everybody else in the room, you see. That's an experiment. People, psychologists, they use this as sociology on us. It is a cult. And it's very hard to fight against the cult, man. Tyler says, local news and ATL just announced that possible Iran and Russia created conflict and riots will likely occur after the election, conveniently at the same time as this. Again, be ready for anything. They're going to throw everything at us, all right? And to be quite honest with you, I think most countries do want Kamala. I really think they want Trump to win because they really don't want to go to war. I really don't. I really believe that. All right. I believe that Trump, at the very least, is going to be able to solve some of these military crises and stop this crap that's going on. I mean, the dude walked into North Korea by himself, for God's sakes. Let's hope and pray that the first thing he does is shut down all these wars and all these neocons, this military-industrial complex. We want it shut down. All right. We want peace. Jamie Halsey, glad we left. Yeah. Dorothy Marshall, good to see you tonight. Said just woke up and phone was charging, catching up. Well, thank you for being here with us this evening. Sharon Hall, as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much. Dorothy says, allies of Donald Trump laugh my butt off. And that's what she's talking about, like we talked about. The only reason these people in Georgia who have fought against us for so long are standing up with Trump is they have no other option. They have no other option to stand. And you know what? Kudos for you for standing up. You know, I'm not going to even fault you for that. It's the right thing to do. But guess what? They've got ulterior motives because they're going to be coming back around you full circle, expecting you to hold your nose and vote for them. And I don't know about y'all, but I ain't holding my nose and voting for anybody anymore. I'm done with it. Well, that's a story for another day. And good to see Angie Kittle this evening. And then Zach Blandenberg, good to see you. Said Dr. Frank, that's who it was we had on the show. Wonderful dude. I know there's this rift and blah, yada, but, you know, Dr. Frank, I like Dr. Frank, man. And I appreciate him coming on the show. And let's see. Zach was talking about when I went silent. Yeah, that's happened before. The corded mouse and keyboard. My God, I've had so many problems, but hey, it is what it is. David Mabe says, the sad thing is Kamala, thank you, David, for being here. The sad thing is Kamala, has more support than Joe Biden, and they made people think he got 81 million votes. Can't wait to see how many they give her in the end. Well, obviously, we know they're going they've got every tool in their tool chest because they don't have the cover of COVID. They don't have the cover of everybody being on lockdown, right? So we must expect that they're going to be throwing everything they can at it. This time, we've got boots on the ground. We've got people who are not going to let them cardboard up them windows and tell them all to go home and give them a sandwich and say, oh, it's over, we're going to stop counting. These people aren't leaving. These people we've got tabulated results. We've got people watching everything. We've got hotlines that people can call where we can make paper trails to all of this stuff. All right, so it's going to be an uphill battle, and I think they know this. I really do. I think they know that they are screwed, and they're preparing now for a Donald Trump presidency, so. Jan Ellis Weaver, wonderful to see you tonight, Jan. She says 25% of our citizens live overseas. You know, that's a good question. And that rolled through my head when he said that, just throwing out these numbers, right? Because you can go look up Gabe, you can go look up Brad and all this stuff, and everybody's got a different number. So he said in Georgia, 75% and then 25%. Well, like I said, that confuses the crap out of me because that margin's a pretty big margin when you think you're expecting 25% of overseas votes. It doesn't make sense, does it? I'm glad you picked up on that because I certainly couldn't understand it either. And David Mabe says they have to know a number to know how many she will need to win. Well, that's what early voting is all about, David. And I didn't want to get into that tonight. I'm trying to stay positive, right? We need everybody to go vote. I'm going to have to take my dad down there because, he's 81 years old, and I'm going to have to help him. And the only way I can do that is early voting. But make no mistake, there's something more to this early voting, and we don't have to talk about it tonight, but we all know these algorithms are well in at play. All the data and information they have on us is well at play, and they will use that to their advantage, but you still need to do it. If you got to do it early, it doesn't matter. Just do it because we know what we're up against. But that's a good comment. Jan says, since when? I'm not sure, Jan. Zach says, always the best. Keep on speaking truth. Can't wait to interview you when I start my show. I don't know if I'm going to be a good interviewer or not. And it says, the left is definitely planning on doing something election day. Vote now while you can. They're on to us. All right, well, I'm going to end with that there. I mean, like I said, folks, look, Kamala Harris, God, I'm going to hour 40. Kamala Harris, you can see it in that idiot's eyes. She's well in over her head. She can't even do a simple interview. She's clearly being, puppeteered along. Joe Biden was never a president. I'm not going to say he wasn't the president, right? Don't get on to me, algorithms. But he wasn't a president. He was a dude just sitting up there doing whatever the crap he was told to do until they couldn't hide his brain freeze any longer. We know that. We've seen it, and we had to live through it, and the media couldn't cover it up any longer. Okay? Just like now, all of the election integrity, everything that's coming at us, all the people that have had boots on the ground, changing the business as usual, they understand that we mean business. And some of us are ready to fall on that sword for this. And I think they're out of options. Now, I'm still going to sit here and tell you it's October the 23rd. Will we have an election on November 5th? God only knows, right? But make no mistake that the battle, even if we get Trump in, the battle might be won, but the war will rage on. It doesn't stop there. And he's going to need every one of us at the front lines trying to save this constitutional republic, trying to save our communities from the tyranny and the transhumanism and the depopulation and all of these things they have in store. And the counties need you. Your local municipalities need you. We have got to have boots on the ground in every aspect, and we've got to change it. George Soros knew this well. That's why all of these district attorneys and all these judicial appointments, early on, while nobody was paying attention, they slid these people in and appointed them in place so they could control the judicial system. And now we see that the judicial system is completely just overrun with nothing, with crap, right? They're going to do the same thing to your commission, your school boards, all around, your sheriffs. We have to vote good constitutional sheriffs in. We start from the ground up and do what we can where we can, because we're going to need every single person on this one. And again, we need every single person to vote. Don't sit this out. You have to go vote. I don't care. Don't make excuses. Go out and vote, because we need every single one that count to fight this algorithm. As you can see, to fight the deep state in Georgia, to fight against not counting pieces of paper, for God's sakes. You must go vote, and that's what's so important. So I'm going to get off here, you guys. You can always go to givesendgo.com/smalltownunderground, and you can support me there. I posted a link earlier from the America PAC. If you decide to sign the petition that Elon Musk America PAC has, you can use my email in that. And if you put me in as a referral, guess what? I get $47. And you get a chance to win $1 million. Now, say what you will about Elon Musk, but that $47 will go to the show Small Town Underground. Or you can put anybody's name in it, and then you can send the link out yourself and put your email, and you'll get $47. But that's another way to support the show where no money comes out of your pocket. And I do appreciate that. Probably the first time it's ever been done like that. But as always, we'll continue to plan shows. We're going to continue to monitor everything that's going on. If you have any election problems, please make it be known. Call the hotlines. Get in touch with your local election officials immediately. Check your ballots when you go. Make sure that your votes aren't being flipped. And then we're going to follow your ballot all the way through November 5th. And then whatever freaking day these idiots decide that they're going to count the rest of the freaking votes. Let's not have another situation where we only lose by 10,000 votes and we got to go through this again, because dadnabbit, that's what they're trying to do. All right, I'm getting out of here. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for all your participation, and thank you for listening to the rant, and I'll see you soon.
Legalized unverifiable voting in 2000.
Like you said to Trump, but they're getting greedy.
They said, go out there and rob these houses and bring back the bounty, and then that'll pay your way.
Because Republicans who get endorsement from Georgia carriers that they mean anything.
You can't sit on the sidelines any longer. You must get involved in the game. This is your sign.